Throughout history, there have always been people who had to do a little bit more to make it, to make ends meet. Living in economic poverty requires great individual effort, physical as well as psychological. People had to improvise. People had to hustle in ways others, their contemporaries, even those looking back, might find curious. That has certainly been true across Baltimore's history. This city really began to grow not long after the American Revolution. In the 18th century, many people made opportunities when they had to have them. There was a need, for example, for those to do the demanding physical work related to clearing land for roads and homes and businesses. Those who could and would move materials that raised this burgeoning city, quite literally the timber and the bricks, the digging and the dredging, the lifting and the carrying. This work was not often secure work. A job one day didn't always mean a job the next. But people did the work. Though some were compelled by force, more were compelled to this sort of work by dire personal circumstance. After the Civil War, the city's place as a bustling American metropolis was well established. Yet even amid a highly organized workforce, social structures and personal circumstance meant that some Baltimoreans in need of a living had to improvise. City streets teemed with hucksters and hawkers, offering all sorts of wares and services for sale, while carters for hire and domestics offering work for pay were seen throughout the city of Baltimore. Across all of this time, the keys remained the same for those most vulnerable: determination, improvisation, entrepreneurial spirit. By the early 20th century, in fact, even for those shut out by discrimination from the lucrative opportunities cleaning up after the Great Baltimore Fire in 1904, there were ways to be found to help themselves, as they made a few dollars here and there, hauling away debris, or performing some other menial, often odious service for pay. In the normal course of the early 20th century, those who existed on the fringes of the formal labor markets continued to find ways to meet their needs, to make ends meet as they could. Young women congregated on street corners near busy intersections uptown, hoping to be selected by passers-by for the opportunity to earn a day's living at day's work, cleaning and doing laundry in someone else's home. For their chance, young men offered themselves and their labor for yard work, or perhaps found themselves downtown to the Light Street corridor, where they might earn a menial day's wage, unloading the great cargoes coming into the harbor from around the world. In the modern day, despite the establishment of social safety nets, people fall through. So, as did others before them, people look to meet their needs through hustle, through work. Often, this is low-skill work, almost always low-entry cost work. It is not glamorous, nor is it especially fulfilling. But then, there's also something of a tradition, something American, in that very old notion of finding a way. We can see Baltimore's so-called squeegee boys in this tradition, perhaps. Known around the city since at least the 1980s, squeegee services and other on-demand street services have been peddled in urban environments, not only in American cities, but also in England, Ireland, and Canada. Unlike suburban youngsters who offer to cut grass or shovel snow, squeegee boys downtown get mixed reactions from their fellow citizens. But we might try to understand them in the light of history, and in this moment, as people trying to make ends meet, to work, to improve their circumstance, if only a little, by their own hand. But more than anything, perhaps we should take them at their word. Listen to what they have to say. Many of the young people don't realize the historical voices with which they speak, or that their intentions to better themselves by any means necessary reflect the values and entrepreneurial impulses that rest deep within the traditions of Baltimore and the nation.
I started because I was homeless, and my friend, I had a girlfriend, and we were both homeless, and my friend, he squeegeed, and I didn't know, like what that even was, and he told me that it's a good way to make money, and long story short, I didn't believe him, but then I watched and saw how much money he made, and I tried it, and I made a little bit more than he made that day. So after that day, I didn't stop. Yeah.
Oh, the first time I did squeezing, I was like 14 years old, for real. I was young, for real. My homeboy put me on to it. So he taught me, he was like, yeah, he was washing cars and all that. So I said, all right, I'll go with you. So we went up to a block over West. It was over West. I made like $40. I was surprised that I even made $40. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's all I need. That's all I need. I'm gone. So ever since then, I'm like, oh, the money coming like that, I know I can make more. So I screamed, you feel me? Went back out there the next day, made 100. I'm like, oh yeah, this definitely gonna work out for me. So ever since then, I've just been doing it, and I've been rocking out, doing what I gotta do.
What started me in the business was that it was problems going on in the household, so I seen though that was a good little hustle to go out there and sell water, squeegee, just to put a little bit of more money in the house, just to help out.
I actually used to boost like stores and all that. And I figured this is the easier and better way because it's not breaking no law, but now they're trying to make it that way, so.
Robbing people, stealing, not knowing if I'd be caught or not, scared. People gonna come get me, the cops might get me, I might get shot today or tomorrow, stealing cars, driving them, it was just like a lot.
We ain't harming nobody, we ain't hurting nobody. We keep all the young kids and get them out the streets to give them something to do so they can make a couple of dollars. Because if they not doing nothing, they gonna do violent things because they don't have nothing to do. So summertime, we all grab them all up and bring them to the squeegee block to make them a couple of dollars. That's why I don't be, the violence is low and everybody got something to do. They focus, they ain't worrying about doing nonsense.
And was a squeegee boy for about 83, 84, 85, about 4 years. Squeegeeing was one of the great gravitational pulls that kept me out of becoming from thievery, robbery, or any other negative element that could have pushed me in that direction. It kept me hostage in a positive way. It kept me hostage in a positive way. And I was appreciating the spirit of entrepreneurship that lived inside of it. And I was praying and hoping that it would evolve.
you see the whole world basically. You feel me? And like, you feel me? It's better out here. You run into people you least suspect. We run into Ravens players, we run into Orioles players, we run into important people and all that, you feel me? People we least suspect we run into for real. Get their business card, you feel me, and all that.
I think it teaches them how to be independent. It teaches them how to make their own money.
You can take something negative and turn it into a positive thing.
You know, you definitely come in contact with so many people. You have conversations with people. You know, it's really good for a child that hasn't had a real job yet. I think it's good for them.
Some people tell us they don't like us. They be like, yeah, I don't like what y'all doing and this, and the third. And I just talk to them how they talking to me, but I'm just, you feel me? I'm just getting disrespectful, but just still talking. I'm just saying, okay, but I'm still getting money at the end of the day. You never know, I'll probably make more than you at the end of the day.
Everybody think we bad, but we not. It's not all of us.
I first started squeegeeing by Baltimore Street, by like Shot Tower. And I mean, those kids down there, yeah, under the bridge, they are like crazy.
We be trying to say something to them when people tell them no and they get aggressive. It don't work at all.
Like if you been at a hotel and people being nasty, you can't be nasty back there, and you gotta think about your job at the end of the day.
I don't think it's right. You ask me to, I don't think that's right, because number one, you stopping other people from getting money.
Even if they do got it, they don't have to give it to you.
They're gonna call the police on you.
There's a lot of crazy people and there's a lot of cool people out here. So stick to your mindset, your business mindset, and get your job done.
You got some people that'll pull up and they be going through stuff. They take their anger out on us.
I had a gun pulled out on me because I sprayed a guy's window. Yes.
I understand people be doing bad things, but you gotta understand where they coming from. It's not always us, but sometimes it is. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes we wake up on the wrong side of the bed and go out and do some crazy stuff, but like I said, it's not always us.
I just want to tell all the other squeegee kids in Baltimore City, any other state, anywhere, don't let your pride get in the way. Somebody be disrespectful, walk straight off on them or just hit them with respect. Respect kills more than disrespect, because it's going to hurt you to disrespect somebody else. You really going to think. But you can sit there and laugh walking off. You already big bro. Already have a blessed day. Come back and holler at me. I'm here, big bro. Don't hurt to be respectful. Just don't let your pride get in the way.
I hate when people pull up on me saying, oh, you going to stab me up. Where that come from?
There's always bad apples, and everybody always perceive it as spoiling the whole bunch. When it's not the whole bunch, right, that's actually demonstrating what the two bad apples are demonstrating.
Whether the city likes it or not, squeegee boys are the unofficial ambassadors to the city. You drive in the city, that's the first person you see. You're driving along, you stop, and it's a squeegee boy. That's the first person you see from the county. So, and that's their first image. So improve that image.
If you can't assist or you can't uplift, then try your best to do nothing. Don't do anything to harm or hurt their situation by creating some nasty story that doesn't exist, and you didn't take the time to speak with them to see that they are human just like you.
One unique aspect of Baltimore that Baltimore possesses that's a little different than other cities, right, is hacking.
People talk about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. That's the absolute definition. You know, you created an economic viability where there was none.
You get a hack. It's like instead of getting a taxi cab or calling Lyft or Uber, right? Baltimore have a historical hacking process, where as though it's a form of transportation that came out of the veins in the spirit of Baltimore City. Squeegeeing is another historical factor that's a part of the generation that I come out of, and a generation that's out here right now, right? That's very unique in the historical elements of what we did through our struggle and through our journey.
You know, you have people that are homeless, you have people that have no family, you know, and you have people on drugs. You know, a lot of us are on drugs.
Like I was living with my aunt. She used to abuse me. She used to hit me with pans and extension cords. So one day I just left. My family wouldn't even help me.
Yeah, I lost both of my parents in 2012, and I first started getting high when I was like 21, and after I dropped out of college, and I started getting high, and I lost my apartment. I had my own apartment and stuff, and like life just really got hard.
They all know 4 or 5 of their friends that have been shot. This summer, I knew 4 guys. Well, now it was 5 guys because yesterday was another one that got shot. That have been killed just this summer. And these guys want to stay out of the drug business. They don't want to do robberies. So squeegee is really their only option for making a living right now.
We need this to eat, survive, all that. I'm homeless at this moment. I don't have nothing. I'm out. I sleep outside and everything. So this is the way that I live. This is how I survive.
Shit happens, excuse my language, stuff happens, you know, and, you know, I just want people to stop judging and stop being as rude as they are. Like, we already going through our own struggles. So when they come through and they cussing us out and treating us like we dirt, that just makes life so much harder, you know? But then you have really good people that come through. Like, I have customers that come through, like, here, take $20, $10, you know, like, and I don't even have to touch their car.
A great deal of us in Baltimore are living literally from one paycheck to the next. And what if something catastrophic were to happen? Would it not be us, homeless, and in a position where we had to do something in order to survive?
One of the kids the other day, I was driving some kids to school, and one of the boys was saying, I need to get some money. I think I'll rob somebody. And the other kids would say, are you kidding? You'll get arrested, you know, you'll get in trouble. He says, no, it's a win-win situation. You either get money or you get arrested and they take care of you.
You know what I'm saying? Now I'm 14. And my brothers and sisters who are older than me, right, they're getting older. The hunger within my home is now growing, and now the opportunity and the resources that I see visually are deteriorating. And the only thing that's holding me right now in a positive way is the squeegeeing principles. Because inside of that principle, right, is spiritual principles inside of that squeegeeing process. One of them, right, cleanliness is next to godliness.
The thing about squeegeeing is, you know, you're gonna make some money.
A Ravens player came through and gave me a $50 bill. That's how I knew it was the best deal. When I seen a Ravens player come through, give me a $50 bill, and hit me with this your lucky day.
$100 bill from an old white woman on Christmas Day.
Man, on the best day, especially like on a Friday, Saturday.
He had that deep voice. He kept saying, I'm a Ravens player. You feel me? So I was just so happy when he gave me the money for real. I forgot his name. I was just so excited for real, jumping around and all that for real.
Like $100, $75.
My best day was $350. And the way that came is because I was out here being I came out early. Every day you come out early is $250, $300 guaranteed. I ain't even gonna play with it. Cause I'm a real hustler. The people that's really out here hustling, they gonna really make what they need to make when they're mind to it.
It was a late night and I made $60 from one dude and I was so happy. He gave me 3 20s. I acted like it was $1, you know. May I get another $1? I gotta get my baby some Pampers, knowing daggone well I ain't got no babies. But he said, look at your hand. I looked at my hand, I already knew what it was, so I was excited. I was excited when I got it.
I start early in the morning, like 7. I sell this like 6, 7 in the evening. make $300-400. Easy.
When I finish the interview, I'm out here to make another $150. It's just a hustle. People like saying the hustle and hard work. If they see the hard work and they see you out here every day putting your effort into it, your hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, people gonna come through and look out for you. Good things to happen to those who work hard.
My dream job,
I want to be a lawyer because people be getting convicted for nothing. Then they be in jail for years. Then when they come home, they ain't got nobody. I just like helping people.
I want to play for the Ravens, I ain't gonna lie.
I want to be an actress. I always wanted to be like in Hollywood and stuff like that. Like, I just feel like I should just be famous.
I be rapping for real. Big Savage on YouTube. I'm coming soon.
I always wanted to be a mechanical engineer.
I used to take my game systems apart, figure out what's wrong with them, take the other pieces from my game system and put it together, make it work again.
I always wanted to be my own boss, because I always been my own boss. Every lawyer, you feel me? Thing I did, I was my own boss. I'm my own father, you feel me?
if it is still gonna be around, when the Squeegee kids come around, I would like to be a mentor for them. I'll be trying to mentor kids and stuff like that.
Saving people's life, when I was younger, that was my thing for real. My first time losing a close person to me wasn't in my family for real. So after that for real, it was like, that really hit me, you feel me? So ever since then, I be like, get tired of saying people die for real. So why not help each other out?
Don't be scared of these guys. These are the nicest kids in the inner city. These are the good guys. Smile at them, give them, let them know that if you don't have any money or you don't want to pay them, just say, I don't have any money today, but I love you guys. Really appreciate you. Give them a big smile. These guys are emotionally, isolated. They don't have a support family. And that emotional support of somebody in the car saying, I don't have any money, but I love you guys, is really going to emotionally help them.
We need help. So don't treat me like trash because I need your help. Accept me for who I am. I don't care if you got money or not. Just accept me for who I am.
Only thing I want is for the community to move forward. And particularly our young generation, right, to take it to the next step. And guess what? Before my eyes close and our eyes close, right, we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen.
What we doing is we dealing with a lot of attorneys and putting all this on paperwork so we can get a grant and open up this building right here for $10,000 and turn it into a car wash.
Or that building over there.
I was in and out jails ever since juvenile. And this here actually changed me.
I just want people to know that, like, I'm so sweet.
I just want people to know that I ain't a bad kid. I only do bad when bad come to me. That's all.
And all the Squeegee kids are good people. We all have hearts.
We appreciate y'all for y'all coming out here and appreciating what we do and try to spread light on the situation from we know what's going on, but to show them how it really is on the other side of the shoe. So we appreciate y'all for doing what y'all do. Absolutely, absolutely.
I thank y'all brothers for coming out, supporting the brothers. I hope that our documentary go a long way, and I hope it go a long way with us, that it help us out to get off the corners.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. It's a wrap, people.
Y'all done made my day.
Sample of a freestyle or something? I ain't got no clean freestyle. See, look, all profanity where I'm from.
More question. What were some of the things that you learned in doing the documentary? So in the process of the documentary, what did you learn?
The biggest thing I learned is that, and I just want to be clear, this is not a political statement. I'm not in the arena of politics.
The biggest myth from my personal experience and perspective is the word all. When it comes to developing an understanding of what help needs to be dispensed, because every case is a case-by-case situation. And you can't just take one case and then you criminalize that case. You know what? It's everybody. And that right there, right, have to be taking a strong look at it. Because now we're saying, you know, if a person is doing something that's out of control, right, one should be held accountable. Well, that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about those bad apples. I'm talking about being in a position, right, to dispense help from a case-by-case basis according to those that's in need. And our responsibility, because for myself, let me be transparent here. First of all, let me hold myself accountable for being a contributor. And then now, guess what? There was somebody, right? There was some of you all there, right, that actually said, you know what? Let me take the time out of my life or out of my experiences and share with you so that I can walk with you through this process and you can begin to see things from a totally different situation, a totally different perspective, because they took the time to show me, to educate me how to do it and how to look at life from a totally different perspective. You know, so, but that myth though, of all have to be redefined, because it's not all, it's a few that have to be addressed in that way.
I think that it is not unusual at all for us to generalize. It becomes almost easy in a way to generalize and extrapolate from one situation or two situations. And again, like I said early on, we don't hear the other side of the story. And that really, for me, was the point of this documentary, to actually hear the other side of the story. Deputy Mayor Leach, please talk about your work of the Squeegee Collaborative and what we might expect in the future. I know it's been going on for months now, so help us understand what's been happening.
Absolutely. First, I want to start off, and I want to take a minute to just thank you, Terry, and to thank the entire staff at the Reginald F. Lewis Museum, because what they have done today is what they do every day, right? Is they have really shed a light on some of the stories that go untold in our community. And so I just want to thank you for taking time to share this story. And not just for today, but for so many times we have called on the Lewis Museum. We've held job fairs here. We had a Squeegee Collaborative session here. anytime that I've called them, they've been there opening up their doors to the community. And so please join me in thanking them for all of that. The partnership that we have with organizations like the Reginald F. Lewis Museum are the partnerships that are really needed to change the narrative around Black boys in this city. And it's a partnership that Mayor Scott knows is what's needed to really tackle this issue, right? Which is why he said back in July that he wanted to bring together a cross-section of business, community, nonprofit leaders, squeegee workers, to have this discussion about how we actually shift the narrative and how we actually develop a comprehensive system to really support our young people. I think the panelists are all accurate, right? We have failed our young people. Our systems have failed our young people, right? And I think this documentary showed exactly how we have driven our young people to these corners so that they have to hustle to make money. These are our children, right? These are the sons and the daughters of Baltimore. So every time we drive past them, that's what we should be seeing, right? These are our sons, these are our daughters. But they also deserve our very best, right? And that is what the mayor wants to see. He wants to see the very best for these young people. And what that means is that we have to disrupt all of the broken systems that have led these young people to corners. We have to fix those systems, right? And so that's what the Squeegee Collaborative is about. We've been having conversations about the services, the supports that young people need. Just in this video and this documentary, we see our young people they're dealing with substance use disorder, right? Mental health challenges. It's not about just, sending someone to a job interview and thinking that that's going to change the trajectory of their lives. There's so much more that we need to do to support our young people. And that's what the collaborative is about, right? A lot of people are like, okay, you guys have been talking since July. Well, we've been doing this work way before July. But these are the types of discussions that we are having. Because it is not about, give someone a job. That's not enough. There are a comprehensive set of services and supports that are needed to really change the trajectory of some of these young people that are out on corners. So there's the services and supports work that we've been having conversations about. We've also had conversations about accountability, right? And that's accountability for everyone, including people in this room, including young people on corners, motorists who are traveling in and out of our city. We all have to be accountable and hold ourselves accountable. And that's been our hardest discussion. We had that right here at the Lewis Museum, where we had some deep discussions about what accountability should look like on all sides, right? But that's what you'll see out of this plan is not just a connection to services and supports, but it's gonna talk about accountability mechanisms for all involved. And then the last big piece of this is we really gotta do a better job of building something that's sustainable. There have been so many different squeegee plans, and this collaborative has looked at all the squeegee plans that have existed. We looked at least 6, if not more, squeegee plans that have existed in the city over the years. And so we wanna build something that's sustainable, right? That's not gonna change, when an administration changes. And we wanna embed that in our government and through our nonprofit partners. So we're also looking at data and impact and measuring our efforts, right? What we put forward, we are hopeful that that is the model that will completely, change the trajectory of our young people. But what if it's not, right? That means we have to have young people at the table who are informing the decisions that we make and helping us make adjustments and to change the model, right? Maybe the services and supports that we have available are not meeting the young people where they are. And so we have to be open and we have to be flexible. And that's what this entire process is about. The one last thing I'll leave the group with is young people were at the table during this process, right? And Davion, we always shout Davion out. Davion has been kind of the lead young person who's been at the table. Davion's in the room. But not only Davion, we had a group of 16 young people, and a researcher from the University of Maryland School of Social Work actually worked with those 16 young people, and they developed their own plan and presentation to the collaborative. And they came to us and presented to us some of the challenges. They've been told many things that have never come to fruition, right? They've had their own bad experiences. And so we've used that information to develop this comprehensive strategy, which, crossing our fingers, will be ready in the next couple weeks, early November. So
So we should hear more, you're saying, in the next couple of weeks? We
Yes.
should know what's happening from the collaborative.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. All right. So Jason, you have the best title in all of Baltimore. And his title is Director of Culture and Impact at Hotel Revival. If you haven't been to Hotel Revival, you should go. You've been a vocal proponent for squeegee workers. Can you talk about your perspective and about Hotel Revival's impact hospitality work? And I know that includes some employment opportunities that have been made available as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for having me here, for one, and I commend you on making that video, Shante. That was beautiful. You know, at first I watched and I looked at the audience, and a lot of people look like me, and I'm grateful that that it's being shown to us, but I know it needs to be shown to a wider audience. Like, these individuals need to be humanized. They don't, even if you don't want to look at them as a child or a relative, look at them as humans. We forget the human experience, especially when we've been ignored and, we aren't given the resources. We aren't given a fish, being taught how to fish. We're given absolutely nothing and left to figure it out on our own. Baltimore is a city that wants to survive. It's been here forever. It's gone through so much, and we're going to continue to do anything to make sure that we live through every single terrible and beautiful thing that happens to our community. I like to think it's actually one of the safest cities, which is weird because, a brother brought up hacking in the video, and like, what city do you know you can just hop it, you can put your hand out, hop into a stranger's car, and then get out of it, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's incredible. Like, you can't even get in some Ubers and get out alive. So in Baltimore, you can get in a hack, and then you can get to where you need to go because you might not have transportation, and somebody from your community will make sure that can happen at an affordable rate. That's entrepreneurism, it's trust, it's community, it's love, it's a lot of different things that we don't consider. And when it comes to the squeegee community, like, there's something, I never squeegee, but I connected with that because I've always worked. I've always had to do something in my house. As soon as I was of age to legally be employed, I was a busboy at a restaurant, right, in Baltimore County. I delivered flyers before then for different apartment buildings. I did whatever job. I made snowballs in my mother's snowball stand. So I get the hustle, right? I know what it means to have to do that. And once I was given the opportunity as the first director of culture and impact for Hyatt, and that position was created at Hotel Revival by Dante Johnson, our GM, the responsibility was difficult to frame. Like, what do you do from a hotel perspective that's usually or traditionally just concerned with heads and beds and food and beverage, and then say, we want you to do culture and impact? I don't know. You know what I mean? But let's figure this out. And when this opportunity came up to participate in the Mayor's Squeegee Community Program, we saw this as something that we can pour into and amplify from a place of understanding, right? Because bringing on people that have been, just working on the street, they make their money by the hour, they don't have to adhere to any corporate, cultures or structures, or wake up at a certain time or they're going to get fired. Like, they are their own bosses. They're in control of their income. What they put out, they get back. That's different in a corporate space. And who's to say that they even have their personal documents, right? The social security card, their birth certificate, all those other things. Do they have is there a barrier when it comes to technology to be able to apply for the job? We can't just tell them to go online and do a thing, that's assuming that they have the ability to do that or knowledge to do that, right? So all of that we had baked into the beginning of the relationship. And we also understood that we had to have a wraparound approach to what that looked like, bringing them into the environment. We brought on 10 from the Squeegee program. Davion was one of them. Richard was actually one of the two that was on the video. And what that means is when they come into the space, we have to make them feel welcome. Right? We have to make them feel like they're a part of the team. We have to embrace them fully, right? Be truly inclusive. I know we like to throw that word around, just like the word authenticity in these spaces, but do we really remember what this means anymore, right? And the experience has been incredible at the hotel. We had 10 that were distributed to do different parts of the business, front desk, operations, food and beverage, housekeeping, and speaking directly about Davion because he's here and I'd like to embarrass him. It felt like he had always been a part of the team the entire time. It was beautiful to see, to walk in and be greeted by him, and then to see him greet guests and watch that interaction. We can't wait until he come back and he's done pursuing his interests at this welding school. But that's what a lot of people don't see, right? They write them off immediately. They see them as a barrier, as an annoyance, as a problem, and they just don't see them as an opportunity or an indicator of where we have opportunities to lead. I'm gonna say two more things. I swear I'm gonna put this mic down. But forever, I remember in my 20s and 30s. I'm 40 now. I know you don't believe it, but what a lot of older people were saying, and I started to say it too, was like, they killed all of our leaders. We don't have any leaders anymore, and this is why things are like this. But at this age, I got tired of saying it myself, and I decided to lead the little bit that I can and be in control of what I can and contribute to the people at the level that I can. We all don't have to be Malcolm X's or MLK's or whatever leader you're thinking about, but we could be somebody to somebody else. And that's what I think is very important. And also the last thing is like, we can all shout out that the system is broken, but what are you doing to contribute to the solution? We all can point at the system and say that it's broken. I'm looking to partner with people who are trying to fix it. And it's not all on the government. It's not on local government to fix this for us. We have to figure out what role we can play, how we can play this together, and make sure that we can uplift and amplify situations like this, people like yourselves, whenever we have the opportunity.
Thank you. Did you have something? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, both of them.
All right, so thank you very much. So I want to talk about a program that kind of evolved out of the Squeegee film and working with some of the entrepreneurs. So I've been working with Appeal. Last year, we actually brought on 4 young people that were, let's just say, digital gig workers, whatever you want to call them, and we brought them on because what I do is historic preservation and story preservation. So the Peel Center, which is just down the street, we got together and we brought on 4 young men with the artist Jeffrey Kent, and we worked with those young men for 9 months to introduce them to historic preservation, museum preparation, because as you know, when one show comes down, another one, the walls have to be painted or prepped based upon whatever the artist's requirements are. So we are now going to do that again with the help of an enhancement grant from Mayor Scott and some additional funding from an IMLS grant. We are going to bring on 4 more to work with them in historic preservation. These young people will have an option, giving them life experiences and things that they can take forward and do something with. Everybody is not the kind of person that can sit behind a desk. What we have found out that young boys like to be moving. They're very hands-on. They are creative, believe it or not. And so the historic preservation and being taught the trades has turned out to be a really successful model for us. What we are asking for is anyone that is willing or wants to be a part of this to come out on October the 22nd to the Peel from 12 to 3, and we are going to have an open house. We are looking for the candidates, the 4 young people to come on board. We are looking for social workers to help with a project management and project leadership, because you can always learn from experience what you need. What we did not have before, and we found out immediately, which is directly to what Davon was talking about, that when we hired the first group, they got a check. They gave them a paper check. All 4 of them looked and said, what are we gonna do with this? We don't have ID. We don't have a bank account. And the chair of the appeal board took the 4 young men to the bank, took the checks back, and withdrew money out of his own personal account and paid them. We did not understand that they did not have checks or checkbooks. They didn't understand. These are the kinds of things where they come up short, and we have to help them. No one's told them how to manage their money, how to go to a bank. If you don't have ID, one of the gentlemen in the film, the young man with the beanie on, who seemed very desperate. Antoine. He didn't even have a birth certificate. I wanted to help him. I said, where were you born? He said, I think Maryland General. And I said, come back and see me. Here's my card. I will take you to Maryland General and get your birth certificate. He did not come back. It does not mean I wasn't looking for him, because we've been looking for all of them. And circumstances have changed for each one of them. But I just want to be honest. I put my money where my mouth is. I wanted to help every single one of them. But what my job is to sell Baltimore. That's my job. That's what a heritage area is supposed to do. It's supposed to sell the history, the museums, and all of the great things that Baltimore is. That's my job. I'm not a social worker, but I care. And I will do anything to help our young people, because they are my first guests. I just found that out tonight. They are my first guests. They are not even familiar with the history of their own city. How can you save something if you don't know how valuable it is? It's dust in the wind. So I am working to save young people, to save their city, and to continue this on so that we can grow and become the success that we once were. You understand what I'm saying? Baltimore is ground zero. I just want you to know that. That's the way I feel about Baltimore. Ground zero. It outdoes DC because we had to save DC. Remember that Civil War? We had to save DC. I'm sorry, it's true. 1812, we saved America. Yes, we did. The history books will tell you so. So I'm here to say Baltimore is here, it's here to stay, and the young people are the ones that are gonna make it become a success again. So we have to invest in them. And if I'm preaching, I'm sorry, but that's my other career.
Okay, preacher, we're gonna stop him right now. We're gonna let Walker say what he had to say.
Let's Walker preach for a moment. Yeah, I think I'm loud enough. What up, the mic? No, I'm good. At the end of the day, it's about solutions. At the end of the day, because we are solutionists. But let me give you some examples for a moment, because right now, when it comes to the young people, what's most important to them, right, and we just finished talking about it a few minutes ago, is the word now. Every time, right, we're going to help you later, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and right now, right, they said, but what about now? And then, so that now is critically important because you done told me, I'm speaking from experience as an alumni. When the time comes where someone say that I'm going to help you, right? You say, I got all these resources, I got this, I got that, right? And then you tell me, right, I got to wait for them. That's a problem. But let me just share some of our experiences briefly in terms of how we help. Matter of fact, it was Pop right here, right, that got me off the corner. But let me share some of the things, right, that actually, I'm now a part of the helping process too. One, God, but two, right, there was somebody, a living example to show me how to do it. So guess what? We always look at pipelines from the perspective of from school or from streets to the prison system. We got to redefine the word pipeline. Because one of the things that we've learned to do, and I've learned to do by following an advisor, a father, and an example, right, is this. We go out and we build relationships. And when we build relationships, right, that is a pipeline. You talk about social security cards, birth certificates, all these things they need. So guess what? We send them through that pipeline, and guess what? We ain't just sending them through the pipeline, but send them back. If you got somebody that we need to help too, right? So we got to build strengthen this particular corridor so the youth can go to what? They can go to get their social security card. They can actually, we create a relationship with 3001 East Madison Street so they can deal with work enforcement development. So that these pipelines that can actually lead them to education, can lead them into employment, but most importantly, lead them careers. But guess what? You need somebody to walk with you through that process. Because I was walking along, because you know what the youth don't know? They don't know what question to ask. They don't know what to do, because me and Pop was talking about something earlier when it comes to mechanics. I'm going to tell you what we do, and it's sad that we do it. We got information, resources, right? And we won't share them. The mechanic can say, let me take a look at your vehicle. Oh, okay, well, I see that you got, I don't know what's going on with it. I'm not educated about engines, motors, mufflers. So at the end of the day, they give me information about something I don't know. In other words, you won't give me valuable, genuine information so I can excel and move forward. We hide information. And for those of us that are educated, not even talking about us in particular, but whoever, we got information we won't even share. Unless we want some money for it. Can't move that way. We got to save the life of our young people. They died in the streets. You heard what the Squeegee boy said? He said, look, I was actually traumatized because I had this experience. We have to find ways. Whatever's on the tablet of your heart, do it. Don't wait. Do it now. Because all hands on deck is needed right now. So we create new pipelines, building relationships over a course of time so that whatever the need is, right, we can actually dispense it in the direction by case basis based on the needs of our young people. Of course, the community as a whole, but particularly with our young people right now, because they are our future, they're our generation, and we can't save them. We can help them. And then they can make a decision to save themselves. We got to be able to walk with each other and share these resources that we have. Because I went to college, I'm about to shut it down because I could hold this hostage. I'm not. In closing. Your experiences, right? Well, I learned about my experiences. I realized in the beginning they was for me to learn from. Mama, grandma, daddy, grandfather. And then I discovered that my experiences was no longer for me. It was for me to share with somebody else. So we can walk with them through this process and lead them through the corridors of the resources that they need. But we got to take the time to do it. And everybody don't have the time to do it. And I understand. But guess what? We do. Those of us that in the spirit of love, care, and consideration, we'll make it happen. That's why we're here. It's been orchestrated, right, by all of us who have a genuine desire to see our young people move forward. That's what we have.
Thank you. I want to ask Leon a question. Leon was also in the film. Was there anything in the documentary that you think wasn't covered that should have been covered around the issue of squeegeeing?
One, first of all, thank Dante for the brainchild. Had a conversation and it inspired them. Like, yeah, I've been thinking about that myself. She said, well, I'm ready to do a film. I'm ready. What do you want to do? So, also, credit to Tony Mendez, director. I heard you touch on earlier about Walker, the mental health challenges, drug addiction, dealing with the trauma that has been where they are. I heard the brother here, Bass, speak about humanizing, because from our position, our perch, we're willing to, we can dismiss it and we very dismissive and nonchalant, as if it was inconsequential, if it wasn't a person. But there's a person, there's a story to it. That's what Shantae does. Preserve the story. And each one of us has a story. Brother Walker just brought it up. The story is once we have consumed, now it's our job to share. But yes, the mental health aspect of it, the drug addiction, that's definitely the backstory that needs to be addressed.
Okay, thank you. I want to give the audience an opportunity to ask some questions. So I see you getting ready to jump out your seat, so I don't want you to do that. So I want to ask you a question, please.
No, so I hear all the brothers speaking. There's two people across the city who have done tremendous work that are not necessarily broadcasted. Mr. Roger Shaw, the director of the Re-Engagement Center in Baltimore City, and Dr. Andre Bundley,
Who just left.
who has done this work for 22 years as principal of Walbrook, as a soldier of the city. Antoine was one of our students. I know Antoine intimately from Renaissance. And I've seen Antoine on 83, on North Avenue, and it's a challenge. And we know this across the board. But similar to what everybody has spoken about is about how can we come together collectively to bring resources. So Concentric, we are a Baltimore City organization. So it's about how do you put your money where your mouth is. So today, what I'm asking everyone to do in this audience is Concentric Educational Solutions, and we're part of the collaborative. I'm going to donate $50,000. I'm asking everyone to match it. And so that we can build that collaborative to be able to put the resources in real time to not just the squeegee kids that come and go across the 25 intersections and corners of the city, but to make sure that it happens in real time and resources for what they need. So I just want everyone, let's match that. Let's get to $250,000. I'll put up to $50,000. Let's do it.
Thank you.
I gotta ask my wife first, but we will put up $50,000.
Thank you so much. I want to throw out there, I'm going to get you, but let me just throw this out so people can think about this. So it was made clear in the documentary by some of the young people that they needed some options. They needed some options. So I'm asking us to think about what options do we think would be powerful and immediate? Because as Walker has said, we don't need something that's going to take us a year to figure out, right? But what options do we think should be available and could be made available? Now, ma'am.
Sure. Well, thank you. I think you all have done an excellent job. I'm so impressed. I didn't know what to expect, but when I saw the email, I said, I knew there was another side to this story. Let me go see and find out for myself. Because before I leave my house, my squeegee voice says, "How you doing, Mom? Have a good day." And before I leave my house, thanks to my neighbor, I try to make sure I don't have that 20 to give, but I try to give them at least a couple of dollars because I know I'm going to run into it. And I greet her with a smile and a hug. So I don't have the $50,000 to contribute, but I have lots of love.
Absolutely.
And I am particularly interested in the young lady that was in the video. And I will share my information. I've had her journey, and I like to help her as she continues to go on. Personal experience is so important, but connecting and listening and demonstrating that you care is also so important. So I have the time and I have the love, so use me. I want to help.
Thank you so much. We do know that isolation is a big issue that impacts young people who find themselves in these types of situations, being isolated from everybody else. Sir. Oh, okay.
When I approach a young person, talk to them, and I'm gonna be real short with this. Ask them one question.
We can't hear you.
Somebody else can hear you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Using my voice is loud. All right. When I approach a young person, talk to them, for a few minutes? I asked him one question, and I wish this question was asked in a film. Somebody should approach one of them young people and say this: do you believe me? You know how many of them tell me, I don't believe you. I don't believe none of them people at City Hall, okay? Those 6 plans that you talked about, okay? There's a legacy there, right? And I know about all 6 of them. And number 7 is getting ready to come down the pipe. I don't believe you, Mr. C. I say, guess what? It's like my son right here. I say, you're gonna see me every day until you do.
Okay. All right. Davion. What's his name? Davion.
So I ain't got no, I don't have no question or anything, but like I was saying, replying to him, like the time is really now. Like we can't really sit around and waste time. Tomorrow ain't promised, the next minute ain't promised. Like anything can happen, anything can go on. And like you say, people can't do it alone. You need help. You need help immediately, right now. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask the deputy mayor that you said that the squeegees guys had done a plan. What was the most impactful thing included in that? Because I think that that should drive what that should be the priority of what we're looking at. What those the young people impacted most have to tell us.
Sure. So I can start to answer that question, but Davion, if you want to share, because Davion was actually a part of that process, if you want to. But so in the time that we spent with those 16 young people, they gave us a lot of the feedback that we're hearing today, right? So they expressed some of the challenges that they had in school, right? Many of them had did not complete school for any number of reasons. They had a few missing credits, they had bad experiences, but there were lots of challenges with the school system that they raised up with the group. They also raised that many of them they're out there trying to meet their basic needs, right? So they may or may not have parents at home, or they may be the breadwinners, they may have children of their own. And so this is a way for them to be out there getting their basic needs met. And they also raised to us that, again, like I mentioned before, that they have been made promises that had not been kept. And so for us, and in this collaborative in particular, that's why we spent time looking at the 6, 7+ different plans, right? Is because we got to learn from history. We got to learn from the past, or else we're going to repeat the past. And we spent time with those young people, and we had young people who are at all of our meetings sharing their voice and sharing their experiences, because that's the only way we're going to be able to create viable alternative pathways. We got to be led by them. Right. And so what they talked to us about was the need for that immediate cash. And so we have to look at our systems. And if our systems aren't right now ready to provide immediate cash, how can we figure that out? Do we work with nonprofit partners? Are there other, technology assets that might be able to help us solve that problem? So it was really insightful to have the young people to present to us their own experience and some of their own solutions, because that has been a part of what you'll see in the next few weeks when we release the plan.
Did Davion want to say something about that plan?
Like we was doing when we was in there, like we was talking about the root causes of what make people squeegee, holding different people accountable, like the schools, the police, everybody. Like it's just set up for us to fail, and how people let people down. What type of services we need, what type of things that it's going to take for people to stop squeegeeing. And we came up with a bunch of ideas, and we presented it at the Under Armour House and in front of a bunch of people. So it was cool. It was definitely cool. We get our point across.
Okay, the gentleman in the blue.
How you doing? Good job, brother. Good job. Thank you, man. Love you, man.
Much love to you.
Mr. C,
Yeah.
I love you. I've been knowing Mr. C for over 25 years. Been knowing this brother for 20-some years. The question is, do I believe them? And the answer is absolutely not. The people who actually make a valuable impact in this city You don't even know who they are. They don't sit behind the desk. City Hall do not want to hear from us. We don't. Me and my wife created an outreach program. We didn't have no money. Drugs, alcohol, poverty, guns, violence impact their households. They are young men who are raising themselves at 12 and 13 years old. They guide themselves. They are the blind leading the blind. We just call it what it is. They feed themselves. They clothe themselves. You know, I give much credit to those squeegee young men because they have an option. Do they squeeze or do they sell dope? Do they squeeze or do they gangbang? Do they squeeze or do they do home invasions? Because that's the only other option. I'm saying to myself like, yo, he's squeegeeing? He could be selling dope. I like him. I like him. They're so dope at their age. So they have to have options. They have to have people who can pull over and talk to them that they can relate to, that they can identify with. Because technically, when somebody pull up to me that don't even know what Northeast Market is, I don't want to talk to them. You want to offer me an opportunity, you don't even know what Douglas Project is. Please, spare me. You want to put me in a program that's a 9-week program. You get me down there, and it's all about a signature so you can get your grant money. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, come on down. Enroll in my program. We need you there. We offer sandwiches and chips. It's a 12-week program. You're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And at the end of the 12 weeks, you get a great resume. But what do you do about his life? Right. You don't even know how to interview. Every word he says, you heard me. You feel me. But that's what's being taught to him. We need to start finding brothers that's coming home from prison, re-entry programs, to lead them again. You know what, today is my first day at college. I just started up at college. I know that. I just got my GED 2 years ago. I believe in you, brother. I believe in you. I'm not gonna fail you. Shot dope for a long time. I believe in you, man. I don't know where I'm going at with this, but I'm gonna be here for you, man. I don't believe in it. I'm like Mr. C. I don't believe in a lot of the programs. What can you do now? What have you done for me lately? Nothing. So you can kill me with them 5 and 6 and 7, 8 dollar pipelines you got. What have you done lately? They 10, they 11, they 12. We need to get together, band together, the old people with the young people, the black people with the white people. Let's get together, let's go lead schools, let's go to the projects, let's talk to the mothers, the fathers, all of them, and find out what can we do together. The $50,000, I don't know what, I don't have $50, but I do have a voice. Amen.
You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate that because what I hear also is your experiences. And right now, right, one thing about the young people, right, they be for their time because of everything they've gone through. So guess what? They can see you coming a mile away, whether you're genuine or not. You think they're not geniuses? They can see, they got their struggles, yeah, they got their circumstances and situations going on, but they can, as they say on the streets, right, real recognize real. Thanks. So yeah, now is the time. Can't wait no more. You know, so right now, right, we can make it happen. So put that plan in place. Yeah, put that plan in place and let's make it happen.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, baby. Thank you.
I just have one thing to say. I'm not here for politicals and putting sides by side, because I need everybody in this room, including the mayor's office, okay? I'm gonna say that. But I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna share this, and I wanna be sincere, because I am a sincere person. This film was made in 2019. What does that tell you? I put it out on the system in 2019, and nobody paid any attention to it. That's why they're talking about now. It was out there. We screened it at the Charles Street Theater in December of 2019. It was on Maryland Public Television for 2 years. I sent it to the powers that be. Nobody was willing to address the issue until violence erupted.
Exactly.
That's why they're talking about now. I'm not doing that. I'm telling a story, okay? Let me just make it clear. It's just a story.
Okay. So I've actually been attending the Squeegee Board Collaborative meetings, and I've been getting some of the emails, but I noticed that some of the partners that have been mentioned at the meetings, they're not on those emails, so that we can have some type of like follow-up. Shante, you mentioned something earlier. I didn't get all the information, and I fear that it may not be repeated later, so that we can. All I remember was Peel Street in the 22nd or 21st.
I will
So-
get, you see me, I will get you the information, I promise.
Okay, but for everyone who wants to like, get that information, can it be on an email or some sort? And then I also wanted to know, what was the result of I think it was the last collaborative meeting actually, when it was open to the public at the Empowerment Center. What was the result of that? Because there was a lot of people there, but I didn't get an email or anything saying this was the result.
So just a quick update on that process. So as I mentioned, we've had our collaborative that's been meeting. But before we even get into that, I think Dr. Buckley stepped out, but he was acknowledged earlier. And I just really want to take a second to acknowledge the work that he does day in and day out. And the narrative will be that the work started in July, when this man has been doing the work for a very, very long time. So Dr. Bunley leads the Mayor's Office of African American Male Engagement, and his team is out on the ground, boots on the ground, engaging with young people all across the city, on corners. We even had opportunities all throughout the summer and really the past year where we were inviting the community to join us on corners, right? Like corners throughout the city, we were setting up resources, connecting directly to young people where they are, because that's how we are gonna be able to really engage our young people. We gotta meet them where they are. We not invite them to City Hall or government buildings. We gotta, take the resources out of government buildings. And that's the work that Dr. Bunley and his team have been leading. On the collaborative effort, a lot of it has been the internal conversations that the collaborative members have been a part of, I think the first 10 weeks. And then we opened it up and we had a community engagement session. Right before we went into a small working group. In that community engagement session, it was close to 200 people. And they went through the process that the collaborative went through, where they shared their thoughts, ideas around services, around accountability, all the things that I talked about earlier. And some of the things that bubbled up from those conversations, there were ideas of, well, what if we had an app, right, that connected young people to jobs where they could be paid immediately, much like gig economy apps like Uber and other things like that, right? There were lots of innovative ideas and concepts that came out of that group. And what we've since done is we've taken the information that came from that community engagement session. We also had a website where people could share their ideas on the website, and that's been a part of the collaborative process. So our small working group that's actually writing the plan is taking the input from community, taking the input from squeegee workers, taking the input from the over 150 people that were a part of the collaborative, and that is what's going into the final the final report that will be released to the public in the coming weeks.
In the back there.
Good evening, everyone. I'm speaking from two places, and I'm gonna take you on a journey. When I think about my career, I've been an intake bus driver, so I've seen the young people from that aspect. I then became a teacher for Baltimore City, working at Douglas High School. So these kids that I see, they were my babies, okay? And they still are, and I'm very passionate about their lives. And the question that always rings in my head is, Maslow's needs, hierarchy of needs. The fact of them having somewhere to live. I haven't heard that discussed. And I was here on time, even though you saw me come up the aisle. I haven't heard that need being met. That's the now. Because how can I go to work or how can I come to school? I remember feeding my kids because they were hungry. The days when we didn't have the free breakfast. and bringing food for my students in order for them to even listen to the lesson for the day. So if I don't have anywhere to stay, I'm hungry. Okay, we're talking about the jobs, that's great. But what about that need? Where I can lay my head down and get a decent night's rest. My kids would sleep in the class because they were up all night. They were on the street. So that when I hear that now, that's the need now. And we bring the food to them so that they can then go to the workplace. That's the now, y'all. And I'm gonna bring it full circle. So MTA was my life at one point. I became a teacher. I'm now doing some CDL training back at Mass Transit. I now have those same young people who have now become adults who are still homeless maybe. They're in uniforms called MTA uniforms, but they're homeless. Why? Because some needs weren't, some skills, some needs weren't met. People think of MTA, them go make all this money, but no. They're losing jobs today. We just had someone get shot at Washington Boulevard where I work. That was a coworker. You understand? Emotional. I'm not hearing the now. Emotional. Our kids just came out of a pandemic. They're 2 years behind and they're sitting, a kindergartner is now sitting in 2nd grade. That 9th grader is now sitting in 11th grade, missed all the skills. That kindergartner does not know ABCs. How do I know? I do home and hospital with Baltimore County. I'm tutoring a 2nd grader on paper 2nd grade, but she never learned her ABCs while we were in the pandemic. Right. She never learned her colors while we were in the pandemic. So we're missing all of that part. How do we fix it now? Those are the now. That's the now. And thank you for, this was divine, y'all. These 2 people I picked up in a lift just to debrief. I like picking people up and debriefing from my day. They picked me up, and then I met this gentleman over here who said, I have a ticket for you.
Look at God.
So listen to what I'm saying. It's not about me at all. The now is they need somewhere to stay. Food, clothes, and shelter. That's the immediate need. Then we can address all this other stuff. Mental health is real. That shooting, best to believe. That's what it's from. Not to say everybody's dealing with mental illness, but it's real. The training program at MTA right now, I have adults who they're in there arguing and bickering at a job as if they were back in 9th grade. It's real. And they're gonna put on a uniform and go drive a bus with those behaviors, because those behaviors never got addressed way back then. Homelessness, the mental illness, that's the now. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, the gentleman caller right here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mosiah Fit. I too I do similar work to what the Squeegee do, which is be out in the community. I walk the city of Baltimore and I sell pies. So like 50 pies a day. I did that being homeless. I was homeless like 2019. I just work real hard, and I always interact with the brothers, Squeegee. I call them Squeegee boys with the brothers. My experience growing up in Baltimore is it's a culture that's just not here. It's across the whole country, and the culture is called systematic oppression. The culture is called racism. The culture is called slavery. And according to Dr. Joy DeGrasse, her book PTSS, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, we all are suffering from it. I don't care if you're a PhD, all the way down to a person that's homeless. Like an atrocity that has happened to you for over 400 years, how can you not be sick? Even while you are feeling good and looking good, how can you not be sick? So ultimately the solutions to not just squeegeeing, but youth entrepreneurship in general is the solution. A base for youth entrepreneurship where any kind of trade that a young person can get engaged in and practice and get involved in, that's really what's needed. Because there's so many youth out here, they just not doing a squeegee, they doing other different kind of things. And they're not getting the notice or the recognition or the attention or just because they on the news. You know, it's a bigger paradigm than that. And you know, once we understand too that, like in America, crime is a business, prison is a business. So that means this country need prisoners. Prison is private profit. They need, just like a hospital needs sick people. So that means that it's gonna be problems because it's needed. And that right there is an illness. So, I mean, you know, the things that we are up against, you know, we try to build infrastructures and programs and organizations, but we're doing it under the state of terrorism. We're absolutely doing it under a state of terrorism. And until we deal with the terrorism, I mean, it's like again, putting a Band-Aid on an open wound. It's bigger than that.
Yeah. You know, I just wanted to, something that you said really struck a chord, and it is this idea of understanding that there's a reason for why we are where we are. And all you have to do is look through history, but you gotta know it. You gotta know that history to understand that there is a root cause to why we are in the situation that we are in today. And there are things that work to keep us in certain situations. One of the themes that I heard from this panel and from some of you all's comments is acknowledging that just because you're standing on a street corner doesn't make you not human, right? And ultimately, we are all endowed with the same stuff, right? We all are born with the same stuff. Some of us just happen, literally, to be born into a circumstance that allows us to do some different things, right? But we're all human. And for us to understand that sometimes, and this young lady here said how you were encouraged by someone on your block. I'm gonna tell a story about my experience right here, President and Pratt. I was on the telephone and I'm driving up the street and I just hung up the phone and one of the guys comes over to the car and I'm like, I don't have, he's like, I just wanted to say hello. Okay. And I rolled down the window and we started talking and he started telling me about his day. And so I gave him a nice hit and I said, you see that black building right there? I need you to come into that building. Whenever you want to come into that building, because there's a lot of information in this building that you need to know about your history. I said, just come in and you can say, ask for the tall lady who said, she says she's in charge. So just ask for the lady who says she's in charge. But anytime you want to come into this building. And the point was, he stopped me. Yeah, he wanted me to give him some money, but he wanted to say hello. And he was kind. And he was a human being. And I said, anytime I see him, I'm gonna make sure that I connect with him because you never know how you might help. He helped me that day. I don't know how much help I did for him, but he helped me that day. I want us to get a couple more questions in here. Sir?
I wanted to make more of a general statement. First off, to Doc Bunley, I'm a graduate of Walbrook class of 02, so I can attest to Doc Bunley. To a lot of people, he was looked at as the first Black leader in Walbrook. All right. people like myself had a support system, so I was able to recognize that he was such as that. So I want to commend I want to tip my hat off to Doc Bunley. I don't know where he went. To the panel, Shante, thank you for shedding light to this situation. I'm a lifelong Baltimore resident. I'm 38, so I've been around. West Baltimore, born and raised to be exact, Poplar Grove Street for those who know. So that's a bit of a rough area. So I empathize with these kids, given the fact that I'm a little bit older. The kids that I grew up with didn't do that. They didn't have that option of squeegee, all right? They did dirt. All of my childhood friends are not here. So my guy here, I commend you for, I'm a little nervous here because it strikes a chord and it convicted me to actually get up and say something. But my guy, I commend you, man. It's a rough thing to have to deal with, and understanding what we have to go through as Black men in Baltimore, whether financially stable, financially unstable, we all have to deal with the same brunt of it to some extent. But in this circumstance, it's like these guys are hurting. They have no resources. There's no sense of urgency to help these kids. I remember being a kid, they took the PAL centers away from us, right? They took the PAL centers away. We had no rec centers, nothing. If it had not been for baseball, I had both parents. Who knows what would have happened? But, time will only tell that. Well, time did tell. But Deputy Mayor, I commend you for what you're doing with the city of Brandon Scott. We have a different demographic in offices. Hopefully they see a different vantage point of where our city may be heading or where it has been, and we can look at it from a different perspective and move forward with that. My guy here at Revival, I've seen you around town. I've been to all your events. I know what's going on. I know what you represent. So I just wanted to commend the entire panel, the group for coming out as a whole. It's a lot of diversity in here, so I appreciate everybody coming and actually just acknowledging what we got going on. So that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Can I say one thing? I just wanted to also acknowledge that what I've been hearing from everybody who decided to contribute is there's an incredible amount of pain and frustration in this room. And I'm hearing a lot of stories. I came here to view a story and contribute in a way where I can express what we've been doing over at the hotel and a little bit of what I do personally outside of the hotel. But hearing everybody's story here, I hope it's touching people in a way to make them understand that the need is not just here with the squeegee people. Our community has been broken and hurt people hurt people. Is that we bleed on each other. Like we do have to figure something out. Like we're not here for that to present solutions, but we have a storyteller over there, an activist that's been through it. We have a community member that's lending this space. We have somebody from local government that's guiding from that perspective, and somebody that's from the community in a corporate space that's looking to participate and partner as much as possible. And I realize also at the same time, and I think this needs to be shared, is no system is perfect. No system that you're going to create or we're going to learn from is going to be the perfect solution to this, right? Nothing that I can do with the hotel or from a corporate advantage or through all these partnerships are going to be the perfect thing. And what I ask is that we don't tear each other apart and chastise each other and judge us when we try to do the 7th program. We try to do the 8th program. We didn't get it out there as much as we should have, and we should have. The story has been going on in Baltimore for 30, 40 years, right? We weren't there for my brother or the people in the community the way that we needed to be when we should have together, right? We all didn't have, and I think you said his brother's name was Pop, right? Was somebody to help, oh my bad, okay. Somebody to help us when we needed the help the most. But what we just have to acknowledge is that things are happening. And we're all working incredibly hard from different points of view to make a solution happen. But if there's anything that I can do, and I don't have 50K, I got great relationships. I can broadcast a story. I tell a decent story, right? And I got a little bit of time on my hand because I'm not time deficient. I'm not resource deficient. And I'm also not love or care deficient, right? So I'm one of those individuals. I hope that when you see me, that you will call on me and let me know if there's a way, from my perspective, that I can contribute to whatever you have going on.
Thank you. All right, this is our last question.
Good Good evening. Thank you so much for putting this together and for the conversation and everybody's stories. I am from someone who isn't participating in a solution. What do you do to participate in the solution? What are the opportunities available to us who do want to do something now?
Can I get a shame plug in?
So the difficult part is that we work from grant funding, a lot of us, so we can only help so many. A lot of times what we need is volunteers to whatever your professional career is, if you feel that you can be a participant and you can help. So my shameless plug is come to the opening at the Peel Center on Saturday if you can find time. It is 12 to 3. We will have people there that we are talking to and that want to help but don't have the financial resources. But you may have time that can be a mentor. You may be able to help somebody with the paperwork process. We are looking for project managers and coordinators to work with the 4. If you have money and resources, we will take that too, because that means instead of us just having 4 kids, or 4 I won't say kids, excuse me, I'm old, 4 young people and giving them a life trade or an experience, then maybe we can get 5, 6. But this is going to happen immediately because we got the money in the door. So what I'm saying is we are going to start as soon as we get our cohort chosen and all the people on deck. That is the immediate. That's how fast we're going to work. So shameless plug, please go to thepeelcenter.org. They will have the information about the AAA program. 3 A's, that's all you gotta remember. Or you can go on my website, which is explorebaltimore.org, and we will have information about it as well. I know that everybody doesn't have $50,000. Some of us don't even have $50. But we can look real good. But really, you may not have that, but you can bring, there are so many talented people I see in this room that could bring their talent, their resources, and even just sit down and talk with some individual, just help them, because that's a lot of what mental health is about too. It's just having someone to talk to and understand where you're coming from. You may not be able to do anything right there, but maybe you can find resources that'll help them. So those are my 2 shameless plugs, but I do want to say one thing, Terry. Thank you, you and your staff.
Well, I was gonna give you a chance to say those. Give me some last words.
I'm sorry.
Terry, we also need to know how you're spelling Peel.
Oh, it's P-E-A-L-E.
Okay.
P-E-A-L-E. So now I'm going to go back to Chantel, but I just wanted to say I really appreciate this panel, and I would like you all to give the audience just a couple of final closing words with regard to what we are dealing with. So Chantel, let's
start down there and let them hear someone else before they decide mine. Boy, I love a mic, but somebody else can have it.
So I think what I would leave the audience with really is echoing the sentiments that many of the panelists and folks in the audience have really raised. And it is that this is our time, right? What happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago are lessons for this moment. This is the moment. And as Jason said, I can't promise you perfection. You will never hear me promise you perfection. But what I will promise you, and what this mayor has committed to, is that we are gonna try our damnedest, right? He has committed to not kicking the can down the road and to getting to what Davion called out and talking about root causes. We got our young people talking about root causes, right? But the thing about this work is that it requires every single one of us. The systems weren't broken just by the government. They weren't broken just by business or community. We all contributed to the broken systems that lead our young people to this corner. And it's gonna take every single one of us doing our part from our vantage point, right? And so that's gonna look differently for every single person in this room, which we all talked about tonight. But what I do know, and what I do see, and what I do feel in this room is the passion. It is the passion and the determination to get it right for our young people, right? If that is what I see in this room, imagine what is throughout the rest of this city. That is why I say now is the time. We have a leader that is willing to do the hard thing and not kick the can down the road. So we have to come together, Baltimore. We gotta come together, not turn on each other. This is about us standing up together, figuring out how we get to solutions. And the last thing that I'll say here is that we have an opportunity to be a national model. We have an opportunity to be a model to show the world how you support Black boys and young men in this city. But again, it's gonna take all of us. It's not just gonna be Brandon Scott or Faith Leach or any other person in government. It's literally going to take the entire city coming together, wrapping our arms around these young people, meeting them where they are with the real ready resources that we heard so many people talk about. And so there's been a question about how can you get involved? How can you stay engaged in this work? And so I will leave you with my information, but then I will also point you to Dr. Andre Bunley as well, because he is really our fearless leader on the ground, really leading a lot of this work. But you can contact me. My name is Faith Leach, so faith.leach@baltimorecity.gov. And then there's also a Squeegee Collaborative website as well, where you can sign up to get more information. If Terry, is there a sign up? Was there a registration link? So the other thing that I will commit to doing, y'all got me on camera, so I will follow up on this. But what I will commit to doing is that when the collaborative report is ready, we'll be sure that we send everyone in this room a copy of the collaborative report. We'll also be doing another hiring fair for young people at Squeegee. We continue to do resources to the corner, where we go out to corners and we meet young people where they are. And we need those credible mentors and those credible folks from the community to join us in this work. So there are lots of ways to get involved, and we'll do follow up after this conversation. And there's one final thing that I want to do, if it's okay, Terry. So Jason mentioned earlier about the work that Revival Hotel is doing with the young people at Squeegee. There have been at least 10 young people that have been employed by Revival Hotel. And so when he talked about leading from where he is and trying to figure out how a hotel could really show up to support our young people, Jason reached out to me and said, hey, I want to be a part of the solution. And so what he did is he set up an employment program, and it wasn't a traditional employment program. The young people that work at Revival are like family to the folks over at Revival. Jason is a big brother. He's a mentor to them. And look at Davion in the corner, because Davion is working at Revival. And so for that, I just want to really thank Jason and acknowledge him and the folks at Revival Hotel for hiring our young people. All right, thank you all.
All right, Jason. Woo. Thank you. I appreciate this, Faith, and the city of Baltimore. I think it's the one thing that I would like to say is that, there's no silver bullet to kill this Frankenstein of a monster that we're dealing with. And a lot of us have ideas and solutions as to what would cure this problem for all of us, right? But what we're all talking about are different understandings of what the problem is, how it's affecting these people. And what my brother said down here is a case-by-case basis. Everybody's dealing with so many different issues from a socioeconomic standpoint, mental health standpoint, whatever, right? They're coming from all over the place. And of course, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a great place to start from understanding. And I gotta agree with you, housing should have been talked about in general, from always. Because if you don't have a place to lay your head, like how can you expect somebody to go and apply for a job when that's what everybody's yelling out here, right?
People who aren't even affected by this problem have opinions, right? They're in the counties, they're all over the place. Like, why don't these people get a job? Like, you don't know what they've been through. You don't know what their life has been like. How many, if they've lost their parents, if they've been abused, if they don't have access to things that'll give them their documents in order to go get a job. You just don't know what they're up against. So when somebody just blurts out a solution, they're like, what we need to do is this. I mean, yeah, it's one of the 25,000 things that we probably need to do to solve this problem. But that doesn't mean that the solution isn't, we can't figure it out together, right? I know that I can't solve systematic issues, at least at this point. I don't have the power to do that. But what I do have the power to do, I understand, and I'm able to execute on that every single day that I can. And I'm relentless about what that looks like for me, right? And there's a version of that for you, right? The amount of like perseverance that an individual needs to be on either side of this battle is incredible. It's incredible. Hearing some of these stories should give you goosebumps. It should emotionally impact you so that you go home thinking about everything that was shared from this audience today and in this beautiful short film that was created to express some of the issues that these people are going through every day. But this isn't a solution, right? We're not here as a community town hall to figure this out in this moment, and we shouldn't have an expectation to have a solution when we're out of here. I mean, that's just how it is though, right? We're humans, we get frustrated, we're hearing that a problem is there, why can't it be solved? Just give them a job. It's more than that, it's more complex. And there's an emotional intelligence component that's needed in order to even approach this problem before giving out a solution. So please I say do what you can from where you are, right? Don't pour too much out of your cup. You need to have some more for yourself, right? Don't think that the elephant is too big to eat. We're just gonna break off pieces until this elephant is gone and we're all full. And just wherever you can, just look to participate in some aspect. If it's just something kind to say to the people on the street so that they do feel human, right? So that they do feel seen. These people are invisible to some, and when they're not, they're an obstacle. They are a pain. And the business community is making sure that the local government has enough pressure on them to do something about that might result, and I hope it doesn't, in like criminalizing this. Right? This should be something that's criminalized? No. That puts people in the pipeline so that they end up in jail. Because when they get those fines, they're unable to pay those fines. Maybe they didn't get the fine because they don't have an address. Maybe they don't know how to deal with the criminal justice system or transportation and take them where they go to do that. That one fine that they could get could completely dismantle somebody's life. But that's the solution a lot of people have for this. So I know I've said a lot, but I'm just hoping that connected with a few of you. And again, if you see me, if you want to participate in any way, and I can offer that, I will. And if I can't, I'll connect you with others that can. Thank you so much.
I'll share this. First of all, it's an honor and it's a blessing to be here this evening on the panel and from the spirit and the heart of the community for those that's in the audience as well. Truly grateful that our hearts are in the same place. And I just want to say this because the gentleman said back there in closing about it's poison or this illness. And the thing is, right? Yeah, it's been a lot of poison going on, a lot of illness. I know for bacteria need medicine. The community, right? We are the medicine.
Yes.
And the thing is, right? I'll say this here in closing. You can get in contact with us at Rose Street Community Center. I'm Arcade, so even though I do touch the computer, but I give you numbers to the Rose Street Community Center. 821 North Rose Street. Phone number 314-314-9628. But I want to just share this here. If there's anyone that has something on their heart, right, you can come. We'll sit down together now and put a plan together, right, and move now. I already know you can come to the historic, the heritage area now. And whatever's on your heart, right, they sit down with you right now. You can go to the hotel now. And whatever it is that's on your heart, right, you can actually sit down, right, come up with a plan now. So we can do that now. So for whoever that has something on the tablet of their heart, right? 443-314-9628, right? We can do it now. So we'll sit down, we put a plan, one of the planners right now, we'll sit down, we'll create one, we'll put it in motion now. So I just want to share that. You know, we won't have all the answers, but the thing is, right, we can start now. And we can sit down and we can be planning collectively or individually, but together we're still working together, you know, to make it happen at the end of the day. So I just want to put that call out. 443-314-9628. Thank you, Mom. You know, so I just wanted to thank y'all. Love y'all. God bless y'all. You know, I love the community. I love the people. It's about the people at the end of the day. And right now, in particular, of course, our elders, but our young people are in trouble. And they need mamas and daddies and grandmamas and families' experiences. Amen?
Amen.
I want to
Okay, I know everybody's ready to go, and they've had enough preaching, right? So, but that's okay. Preaching is good. So I want to say, first of all, my staff is here. I want to thank them, because without them, the Heritage Area couldn't exist, and we do a tremendous amount of work for 4 people. And so if you want to know about what we do, I believe I left some year-end reviews downstairs, so you can learn a little bit more about us in writing if you're archaic and don't have a computer. You can read it, take it home later. That's one. But 2, I want to thank Terry. We wanted to get this film back out there because of all of the negative press. And we were able to send it to Terry and let her staff look at it. They put this together. Rachel did all this work to get the people in the room that needed to hear what's going on those corners. No, we can't fix it tomorrow. Something that's been in place for years and years, you just can't fix it tomorrow. But you can try little by little, break it off a piece by piece by piece. And the one piece that you can do is when you see a squeegee worker, which is what I do. When you see a squeegee worker and they hit up to your car, just like the men in the film say, hi, I don't have any money today, but I love you. Keep hope alive. Whatever is in your heart to say that's kind. And remember, they're human. And like one of the young men said, he don't know you may be having a bad day. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we just get up and we have a bad day. Everybody has a bad day. But for those young people, it's a bad day every day. So all I'm saying is, thank my staff, thank Terry, thank her staff, thank the mayor's office, thank you, Mr. Bass, for what you're doing. And please come out next Saturday, October 22nd, and see what we're trying to do. Little by little, we're gonna build a house, okay? One brick at a time, we're gonna build a house. Thank you very much.
All right, well, my house, I get to have the last word. And it's gonna be a short one. In the words of my late husband, who was a pastor, you may be the only Bible that anybody ever reads. Operate accordingly. Thank you all for being here this evening.
Terry, we're gonna do a group. Go, Rachel. Go. Just to serve. Just serving. That's all. Just serving.